Sometimes God changes not with a miracle, not with a big announcement, but with 3 quiet things that most people ignore. And if you miss them, you might just miss the season where God was building the strongest part of your faith. Last month, I learned this lesson in the most unexpected way. My earnings dropped to almost nothing. What I used to make in 1 week took me an entire month. I had plans. I was about to secure an apartment, but suddenly everything stalled. I could have called friends for help. I could have complained. I could have even questioned God. But instead, something different happened. I decided to run to God instead of running to people. And as God will have it, during these times, I was soaked in Him. I read and studied the Bible more than I have in years. I prayed with a new hunger. And even when I was literally hungry on July 30th, I didn't break my fast with food because there was no food. I broke it with a sachet of water the next morning. I went to school, not downcast, but courageous, determined that this season would break the chain of poverty in my life and in the lives of those around me. And that's when God reminded me, this is how He works, quietly, deeply, through 3 things that often go unnoticed. 1. God uses hunger to teach dependence. The first quiet thing God uses is lack, not because He wants to punish you, but because He wants to show you what's in your heart. In Deuteronomy 8:3 it says, He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Hunger, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, strips away the noise. It forces you to decide what you truly depend on. For me, that day of hunger was a mirror, showing me how much my heart had grown to trust God. 2. God uses delay to build endurance. The second quiet thing is delay. We live in a world that hates waiting, but God often hides His best work in the waiting room. James 1:3 says, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Every time I looked at my bank balance and saw it hadn't moved, I had a choice, get bitter or get better. The delay made me stronger. It taught me to serve God when the evidence didn't look like He was blessing me. That's faith believing God is still good when nothing around you says so. 3. God uses solitude to clarify your identity. The third quiet thing is solitude. Sometimes God will isolate you, not to abandon you, but to remove every voice so you can hear His voice clearly. In my own struggle, I didn't call anybody. I didn't call my parents even as a university student. And in that silence, I began to see who I really was in Christ, not defined by money, not defined by possessions, but defined by God's calling on my life. Even Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to pray. If the Son of God needed solitude to hear His Father, how much more do we? So maybe right now, you're in a season of lack, delay, or solitude. Don't misread it. These might be the very tools God is using to shape the version of you that's ready for your next breakthrough. That day, on July 30th, I went to bed hungry, but I woke up full of courage, full of faith, and full of the quiet confidence that God was with me. And I want you to know He's with you too. If this spoke to you, tell me in the comments, which of these 3, lack, delay, or solitude, is God using in your life right now? And if you haven't yet, subscribe to The Day Growth for more faith-building messages that will keep your spirit strong.